2024 is the new season of regrets and political reconciliation. People asking for forgiveness of past mistakes they did to their opponents. But what exactly is changing the tide? Rigathi Gachagua is asking Mama Ngina to forgive him for all the insults and abuses that he meted against the First Lady in the run-up to 2022 general election. But will Kenyatta family blink and reconcile with Kenya Kwanza administration? Welcome to the Bold Analysis. My name is Kevin Oduor and I want us to delve deep into this. But before that, I want to humbly request you to subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos. And thank you very much for being supportive of this channel. Apart from political commentary, we also run charity programs, and I'm actually receiving proposals on what project we should do for April. The last project we did in February, we skipped March, and we are going to do the next project in April. So I'm receiving those proposals from you. What do you really want us to do this month? So I want us to look more into this. But also allow me to share my condolence messages. Yesterday I did not do any video because I was in Kenyatta University to stand with the family of Oslo Mwendwa. The father is one of members of this channel and a very close friend of mine, and of course we also had just to be there to stand with the family. And I saw the mood of parents breaking down at just what happened. Guys, there is something going on and we need to do something. I think the drivers need to be more careful, and I think we need to do more regulations on the roads, so that I know regulations cannot prescribe the conduct of the drivers, but I think drivers need to be more careful. Now, Rigathi Gachagua has issued an apology to Mama Ngina over the abuse she meted and the team meted against the Kenyatta family in the run-up to last general election. Kenyatta family was the punching bag for the young politicians that were sprouting from Mount Kenya, running antagonism politics to consolidate the Mount Kenya base by projecting Uhuru Kenyatta family and Uhuru regime as an enemy of the region. In fact, if you listen to the messaging by the brand of young politicians from that region, what they were projecting is that Uhuru Kenyatta had even abandoned the region and was supporting other regions, despite the fact that Mount Kenya voted for him twice, or rather thrice, if you also put that run-up, that rerun. Rigathi has made an attempt to mend fence with Uhuru Kenyatta, and Kenyatta outrightly declined that handshake. And now the call for forgiveness from Mama Ngina is seen as the new strategy to try to get another handshake, or rather to try to get a handshake from Kenyatta family. And Rigathi is on charm offensive. The reason why I think he is actually trying to reach out is keenly because currently there is something that William Ruto has done, and he has reduced Rigathi Gachagua to a Mount Kenya region spokesperson. Rigathi no longer represents the interest of the national good. He specifically represents the interests of Mount Kenya. And that has also set him on a war path with some other factors or some other fellows from that region. So he's trying to look for that validation by getting to Mount Kenya, to Kenyatta family. This exclusive interview that was aired by Kameme FM, Rigathi is speaking remorseful of hostility that themselves and even Kenya Kwanza administration has meted on Mama Ngina and Kenyatta family. Acting on political anxiety is the biggest mistake that young politicians do make. Because I remember last year at this time, You know, there were even security details to Mama Ngina were withdrawn. And even Moses Kuria, Moses Kuria even went ahead and told the country that they're even planning to go there and protest around the gate, just around, as part of that hostility on Mama Ngina. And one thing that most young politicians don't see is that even after power, there is life after power. Or rather, there is life after politics. You know what's happening now? You'll not even imagine that Raila Odinga would be talking to William Ruto at the same page. Who would even imagine so? And that is what fellows like Rigathi Gachagua didn't ever see. And they found themselves in crossroad. I said that this political narrative of using Kenyatta family or Uhuru Kenyatta, running a smear narrative on Uhuru Kenyatta just to charge emotions in Mount Kenya, it was not it will not be politically potent in the next general election. Clearly, in 2027, this brand of politicians will still not go to the mountain and tell the voters that Uhuru Kenyatta is the problem, that Kenyatta family is the problem. That is not politically potent. And the reason why politicians like the brand Raila Odinga has remained is because they've been on the defensive line of fighting for the rights of the people. And even those who have been saying, Raila is now away, so tunaenda kuteseka, nani atatutetea. You also have to stand with a principle. Now, that is something that was lacking in all this. It was a very perishable narrative because you just run, it's simple. Just go and tell the people that, look here, Uhuru is bad. And by the virtue of telling people Uhuru is bad, maybe through that you've gotten your way. And that is not politically potent. No one from Kenyatta family, this is not the first instant because there have been this attempt. But no one from Kenyatta family, be it Mama Ngina, Uhuru Kenyatta, or even Jomo or any other person, has shown intent of reconciling with the Ruto regime. And that is why that reaction of even Kenyatta family standing their ground and saying, we don't want to associate with William Ruto, is why I can say that this forgiveness reconciliation that Rigathi is pushing is too late, too little. Because I want to say, Mama Ngina and Uhuru Kenyatta, they can have a problem with Rigathi Gachagua's conduct and the abuse and this disrespect that Rigathi showed on Uhuru Kenyatta on that day that they were being sworn in. That bit is a problem they have with Rigathi. But what Rigathi must understand is that Kenyatta family have a bigger problem with Uhuru Muigai, with William Samoei Arap Ruto. And that is why they would not really, it's a bit too late, too little. I've always, even just to speak the truth, I've always wondered, 13th September 2022, you are swearing in, you've gotten power, it has been handed over to you, Uhuru Kenyatta is leaving, he doesn't have anything, he has given up power, and then you take that moment to run a smear narrative against Uhuru Kenyatta. So by that time, Uhuru Kenyatta was not your son. Then 15 or 17 months later, you emerge saying, now Uhuru Kenyatta is your son. Uhuru Kenyatta is one of you. That is where the problem is. And there is that which is coming here. And I am seeing some 5 objectives of Rigathi Gachagua. Why Rigathi Gachagua is clearly pushing for this. Or rather, there is an objective where Rigathi Gachagua is pushing up for this. But this is a bit inconceivable at this moment. There are 2 reasons why Rigathi Gachagua is pushing this reconciliation with Mama Ngina. Number 1, Rigathi Gachagua is seeing the emergence of that Kamwene. And that Kamwene grouping includes Martha Karua, Jeremiah Kioni, and a host of other politicians from the region. This group of Kamwene is perceived as amorphous. You're not clear, is it being supported by Uhuru Kenyatta or not? I'll do some analysis on it. But then, the big challenge here is, Rigathi would want that this time round, Mount Kenya do not provide a rival candidate to Kenya Kwanza. You know, Martha Karua has said she's going to seek presidency. She has come out. She's going to seek presidency. And Martha Karua seeking presidency in 2027 would actually be a big threat to, not a big threat, but it would be, you know, it would be an alternative to those who feel Kenya Kwanza has failed them. Now that is what Rigathi Gachagua would not want. So he would want to merge this, to bring all this unity, all this unity agenda, so that if you can get Kenyatta family around, you know, will be able to maybe implore on to convince Martha Karua to shelve this ambition. Because what Rigathi knows very well is that if William Ruto doesn't get presidency in 2027, that's the end of him. The second reason why this is being pushed is that Ndindi Nyoro axis. Ndindi Nyoro is getting state lifting, and it's no secret that state lifting he could be getting it from William Ruto. So that Ndindi Nyoro axis is a threat in terms of, are they going to field a presidential candidate? What is Ndindi Nyoro up to? Now that he's been moving across the counties and across the constituencies with these MPs and these other youthful MPs, is he the one that is now thrusting to the position that Rigathi Gachagua is in? So just to secure those positions, those are two factors that to me are giving Rigathi Gachagua sleepless nights. But then I need to explain in details here why Kenyatta family is on offensive, charm offensive, rejecting any reconciliation effort with Ruto regime. And I'm so specific by using the word Ruto regime. There's some few mistakes that Ruto did. And this is what, according to me, might actually hurt the Kenya Kwanza administration, might actually hurt the Kenyatta family. Did you realize that a day after inauguration, the first stop Ruto went to was Mshwari. And that Mshwari, he said that, I don't know, they had to slash something by 50%. Mshwari was a program that was being implemented by Safaricom and NCBA, which is a bank associated with the Kenyatta family. This is, since Ruto came to the administration, there have been an attempt to mutilate the Kenyatta commercial empire. And that was the first of it all. Even the current ban of milk, powdered milk from Uganda, it was largely the policy framers argued that they want to protect the local industry, milk industry. But they also understood that some of the biggest, some of the pioneers or investors in that milk sector was Kenyatta family. So you'll realize that there are some policies, there's some pedestrian policies that were just dangled, packaged as, you know what, we want to protect the milk sector or something. But in real sense, it was targeting that, because they also understood that maybe Kenyatta also had some investment of the same milk sector from Uganda. And this has continued. You can name them. There is that of milk. Do you know, even when Rigathi Gachagua was going to tea sector, to coffee and tea subsector, he always thought that Uhuru Kenyatta is there. Do you understand? So even the move to go and, cancel those licenses for those coffee societies and marketing, they always believed that Uhuru Kenyatta was there. Until they went and they realized, no, Uhuru Kenyatta is not even there. And so the objective was to make sure they fish out Uhuru Kenyatta out of it. Number two, in which I think it was so unfair, William Ruto was a deputy president for the last 10 years with Uhuru Kenyatta. There are those achievements like Nairobi Expressway, There are those roads, there are those projects they achieved together. And what then happened that even after William Ruto getting power, he continued still to undermine and underscore the Uhuru legacy. And this is something, and you will actually realize, if you look at the exit speeches by Uhuru Kenyatta, the speeches that Uhuru Kenyatta did last time, he was so irritated, he was so angry with the fact that these guys are talking about my name left, right and center. Na wamekuwa kwa serikali, wamekuwa kipata hii salary, wakikuwa kilipwa. And I think that did not go well. That has never gone well with Uhuru Kenyatta. You were deputy president. You campaigned, when you were even campaigning, you know, you used to hit our projects. We might have fallen out in second term, but most of those things we did when you were in government. After he took over, you know, he's been undermining Uhuru legacy. And that, according to me, has been a big difference. Then the third thing I see is it will never be known, but there was a deep-rooted fallout between William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta even before the 2017 general election. I think Charles Keter told us. The fallout between Uhuru and Ruto was not on 2022 politics. The 2022 politics was a product of that fallout. Already walikuwa washako sana. And there were so many narratives. You remember Livondo? Where did Livondo go? I remember Livondo going to Kericho Green Stadium and saying the way there was an attempt on the life of Uhuru Kenyatta. I remember stories about how there are some MPs that were lied towards William Ruto that got annoyed that after Uhuru Kenyatta had a handshake with Raila Odinga, there was an attempt for him to be even impeached. And he ran for Raila Odinga to help him run government and protect his presidency. Because even before that election, there was already a fallout. But if you ask me, this fallout was about Gawa. What do I take? What don't I take? I think probably it was never political. It was something, a table fallout. So Uhuru Kenyatta went for Raila Odinga after falling out with William Ruto. That is what people don't really get. But that is the truth. Raila Odinga suffered a collateral damage. Kuran government, for budget to pass, he needed to get some numbers in parliament. You cannot run government if budget is stuck. And Ruto had already bought those MPs and taken those MPs aside. In fact, let me tell you, whether Uhuru would have a handshake with Raila or not, Ruto would have ran that smear narrative already and break away from Jubilee. The other third thing is, I think, the land politics. Remember, Kenyatta family has huge tracts of land, and of course, that is not disputed. But I think to the first instances, you realized that there was a lot of land politics that was charged against Kenyatta family. And Mama Ngina was, even for the first time, she came out and said, if there is land in Yemisi Jakoni Kilipa land, just come out and say, I'll even sell that land and pay. Those are some of the instances. And I think Rigathi is struggling by all means to be the Mount Kenya kingpin. Contrary to what he told us, that is not the Mount Kenya kingpin. But I wish politicians get the right thing that the public need. In fact, Kenyans don't need those kingpins and king queens. As we speak in Nyanza, Raila seems to be leaving. We don't have a kingpin. Do Kenyans need kingpin? No. Our politics is evolving. Instead of struggling to be a kingpin or a king queen, I think we should just meet our campaign pledges. You know, that is what we should go for. I think we should just look for the welfare of the people. Just that. The other things, the country will not choose whether you are born in Nyanza or Mombasa or the coast. Just give us the ideology. Then Kenyans will buy. And this is the time. If something is wrong, don't hurt mwananchi now. Then you want to hide under the umbrella of being a kingpin. No. Just like Mount Kenyans were protesting about the avocado tax. That is what you address. People have been crying Mount Kenya about coffee and tea subsector returns, low returns. That's what you address. Fertilizer. Address those problems. That is the kingpin. You know, That is the kingpin that Kenyans want. Kenyans don't want the regional kingpin. Kenyans want the man that is going to address their problem. I wish the political gets that. Thank you, guys.